Hello, my name is Karina Perales, and I'm going to explain the difference between bottom-up and top-down processing. So, basically, bottom-up processing it originates from your senses. So, bottom up. So, starting from your senses to your brain. While top-down processing is top-down. So, basically it originates in your brain. That's like the most basic way of describing these two processes. But these two processes are two different theories. Basically, in essence, bottom-up processing is when we take incoming sensory stimuli and then we interpret it, as opposed to top-down processing where we start with the idea or the stimuli inside our heads, and then we interpret the information coming in. The easiest way to understand this concept is with the analogy of like getting up to go to the restroom at 2 a.m. So with you can either get up in the morning or get up, turn on the light, go to the restroom. That would be bottom-up processing because you're using your senses, your visionary skills to go to the restroom to complete this task. Now, you could also get up at 2 a.m, not turn on your light, and just use your muscle memory to go to the restroom as you would normally if the lights were on. But this is considered top-down processing because you are not using your senses, you're using information that is already in your head to navigate this task. Okay, now I'm going to briefly describe the scenario. So, hold on, let me screen record. So, we're at a 4-way intersection, right? Something like this. I'm not an artist, okay? I'm just the bystander, but these are the people in the car. So there's a car coming this way. There's a person here. We're gonna call this driver A, and then over here there's driver B, and he's wanting to make a left turn at the lights. Driver B. And then this is me. I'm in my own car. I'm wanting to go this way. But I'm irrelevant to the situation. So anyway, I'm watching this happen, right? Basically, what happened is that, and let me describe the scene as well. It's 6 a.m, it's rainy, it's a bit icy. We're in Texas, so we're not used to like icy road conditions, so it's all bad. And then I'm running late, so I'm assuming that these people are running late as well. So driver A is going straight down. There's a light, obviously. He sees that it turns yellow. Now, he already knows that he's late. He knows that if he gets stuck at this red light, that he's gonna be late to work. So, driver A decides to floor it, and he accelerates towards the yellow light, right? While driver B is also making his turn left. Now, driver B has a solid green light, so he's able to turn as long as it's safe to do so, right? So he determines that driver A is just too far away, so he says, whatever, like, I'll go. And then they collide right here. And then I'm right here, and I'm just watching it all happen. So, driver A is using bottom-up processing by seeing the yellow light and deciding to then press on the gas and accelerate so that he doesn't get stopped at the red lights. Driver B, on the other hand, is also using bottom-up processing by looking at the headlights above him of driver A and determining that he's too far away, I can safely make my left turn. So that's how they both use bottom-up processing. So in terms of top-down processing, driver A is thinking about how he's already late to work, right? So because he's late to work, he then sees the light turn yellow, and then he decides, you know what, I can't stop at this red light, like I have to go. So he goes, and then that's when he collides with driver B. So that's an example of top-down processing, because driver A is using, the ideas and concepts and inner noise in his mind to process his surroundings, right? As opposed to driver B using top-down processing. He is looking at the solid green light. He doesn't have a protected green arrow. He has a solid green light, but he knows from driving school that he is able to make a left turn at this light. I don't know if this is how it is everywhere else, but this is how it is in Texas. So anyway, he knows from prior knowledge that he's able to make a left turn at the green lights. He only if it's safe to do so, but he determined that driver A was too far away, so he did it. He miscalculated, and then they collided. Now, while both of these processes were used in both of these situations, or in both of their realities, one of them is dominant. One of them works a lot better than the other, and that is the top-down processing. Because the bottom-up processing fails to acknowledge why driver A was able to see the yellow light. He was able to see the yellow light change, and he's like, oh no, I can't stop at this red light, I have to go. Yet he failed to see the headlights of the car that was about to turn. Presumably he missed his blinker too. Now, how could that be possible if, say we were to take a screenshot of what he saw, you would be able to see the headlights there, right? So that is why bottom-up processing is kind of weak in this situation. It fails to explain why driver A also saw the yellow light, and while in driving school he was taught, the yellow light means to slow down, the bottom-up processing fails to explain why he saw the yellow lights, and instead of slowing down, he took the yellow light as, oh no, let's speed up. So the bottom-up processing method also fails to explain that. Top-down processing also works a little bit better here, because it explains why driver A became, it's called, inattentionally blind to driver B. So his attention was so focused on the light changing yellow, because he already had this prior knowledge that, oh no, he's late, he can't be late, he can't hit this red light, right? He's already thinking that. So that explains why his attention was so focused on, up in his head, on abstract ideas, rather than, the visionary stimuli coming in. If he weren't late, or if he weren't so focused or worried about being late to work, then he probably wouldn't have been so focused on that, and he probably would have paid attention to driver B, and then they wouldn't have hit each other. You get me? So, and I mentioned inattentional blindness, which is basically when your brain sees something, but it doesn't acknowledge it, it doesn't interpret it. And that's what driver A experienced in this situation. He became unintentionally blind to driver B, and because of that, they ended up crashing. Now, no one was hurt in this situation, everyone was fine, thank God, but it was pretty scary to see. And all in all, this just means, we need to be focused while we're on the road. Distracted driving is a big problem today. It's incredibly important to consider how we process information, especially when we're doing things that require our focus. So, yeah. Thank you. Have a great day.